The 1970s weren't just about Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating stories of 20 incredible bands that time almost forgot, groups that deserve the spotlight but somehow slipped through history's cracks. 1. Badfinger, the Beatles' tragic heirs. Picture a band blessed with Beatles-level talent but cursed by devastating fate. That's Badfinger's story. Signed to Apple Records in 1968, this Welsh quartet seemed destined for greatness. Their melodic masterpieces like No Matter What and Baby Blue showcased a perfect blend of power pop prowess and raw emotional depth. Under the Beatles' wing, Badfinger crafted unforgettable albums like No Dice, 1970, and Straight Up, 1971. Their signature sound, a brilliant fusion of catchy melodies and muscular guitar riffs, helped pioneer the power pop genre. But behind the music, darkness lurked. The collapse of Apple Records triggered a devastating chain of events: predatory contracts, legal nightmares, and financial ruin. By 1974's Wish You Were Here, the band was unraveling. Pete Ham's tragic suicide in 1975 marked the beginning of the end, with bandmates Tom Evans and Mike Gibbons later following the same heartbreaking path. Joey Molland, the sole survivor, carries on their legacy through his solo work. 2. The Runaways, punk rock's lost daughters. Before Joan Jett became the queen of rock, she was part of something revolutionary. The Runaways, formed in 1975, weren't just another rock band. They were teenage rebels who shattered gender barriers in the male-dominated music scene. Their raw energy and defiant anthems like Cherry Bomb electrified audiences worldwide, especially in Japan. Despite releasing 4 groundbreaking studio albums and 1 explosive live record, internal tensions tore the band apart. The creative tug-of-war between Joan Jett's punk rock vision and Lita Ford's heavy metal aspirations proved insurmountable. Their final show at the Cow Palace on New Year's Eve 1978 marked the end of an era, but their influence on female rockers remains immeasurable. 3. Joy Division, Darkness into Light. In just 4 years, Joy Division revolutionized post-punk and laid the groundwork for alternative rock. Emerging from Manchester's grey industrial landscape in 1976, they created a sound that was hauntingly beautiful, yet profoundly disturbing. Their 1979 masterpiece, Unknown Pleasures, redefined what rock music could be, with Ian Curtis's deep, emotional lyrics floating over innovative, minimalistic soundscapes. But fate had other plans. On the eve of their first American tour in 1980, Curtis's suicide brought Joy Division's brief but brilliant career to an abrupt end. The remaining members would rise from the ashes as New Order, but Joy Division's influence, showcased in timeless tracks like Love Will Tear Us Apart, continues to inspire new generations of musicians. 4. Fleetwood Mac, The Tumultuous Transformation. Before Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham transformed Fleetwood Mac into a global phenomenon, the band's early years were a roller coaster of drama and missed opportunities. Founded in 1967, their initial British blues rock incarnation, led by Peter Green, showed immense promise, but struggled with constant lineup changes and personal demons. The band's evolution from British blues pioneers to pop rock titans is one of music's most fascinating metamorphoses. After several personnel changes and near disbandment in the early 70s, fate intervened when Mick Fleetwood discovered the dynamic duo of Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham in a Los Angeles studio. The classic lineup, featuring Nicks, Buckingham, Mick Fleetwood, and John and Christine McVie, created magic from chaos. Their 1975 self-titled album marked a stunning reinvention, but it was 1977's Rumors that became their masterpiece. Recorded amid a perfect storm of personal turmoil, Nicks and Buckingham's bitter breakup, the McVie's divorce, and Fleetwood's own marital collapse, the album transformed private pain into public gold. 5. King Crimson, Progressive Pioneers. In the realm of progressive rock, few bands pushed boundaries like King Crimson. Their 1969 debut, In the Court of the Crimson King wasn't just an album. It was a revolution in sound, blending classical complexity with jazz improvisation and rock's raw power. But innovation came at a price. The band's relentless pursuit of musical evolution led to frequent lineup changes and creative tensions. By 1974, after releasing several groundbreaking albums including Poseidon and Lizard, internal conflicts forced them into hibernation. 6. Budgie, heavy metal's hidden architects. While casual rock fans might not recognize Budgie's name, their DNA is woven deep into heavy metal's fabric. This Welsh power trio delivered 7 thunderous albums throughout the 1970s, pioneering a sound that would influence giants like Metallica and Iron Maiden. Despite modest commercial success, Budgie's impact on rock music is undeniable. Their unique blend of heavy riffs, progressive structures, and Burke Shelley's distinctive vocals created a template for future metal bands. The band continued rocking until 2010, when Shelley's health issues finally grounded this influential but underappreciated outfit. Their journey from small clubs in Cardiff to influencing a generation of metal giants remains one of rock's most overlooked success stories. 7. Big Star, Memphis's unsung heroes. In the pantheon of rock's most influential bands, Big Star shines as a testament to artistry over commercial success. This Memphis quartet crafted power pop perfection that would inspire generations despite facing crushing distribution problems and internal tensions that led to their premature demise. Their 1972 debut, #1 record, perfectly captured the essence of American rock: crystalline harmonies, jangling guitars, and songwriting that balanced raw emotion with pop sensibility. The follow-up Radio City, recorded as the band was already splintering, somehow managed to equal its predecessors' brilliance. Like their spiritual predecessors, the Velvet Underground, Big Star's influence far outweighed their commercial impact. Their sonic fingerprints can be found on countless artists, from Rem and the Replacements to Teenage Fan Club and Primal Scream. Each subsequent generation seems to discover and fall in love with Big Star's timeless sound anew. 8. Wild Cherry, funk's unexpected heroes. How did a group of white guys from Ohio's steel country create one of the funkiest hits of the decade? Wild Cherry's story proves that sometimes lightning strikes in the most unexpected places. Led by Rob Peresi, this rock band turned funk sensation exploded onto the scene with Play That Funky Music in 1976, topping both the rock and R&B charts. Named after a box of cough drops, true story, Wild Cherry emerged from the blue-collar town of Steubenville, Ohio. Their journey from local rock band to funk phenomenon captures the beautiful unpredictability of 70s music, even if their mainstream success proved fleeting. 9. The Carpenters' Velvet Voices and Hidden Pain. Behind the Carpenters' pristine harmonies and polished pop perfection lay a story of triumph and tragedy. Karen and Richard Carpenter's journey from Downey, California to international stardom showcased their extraordinary musical gifts. Karen's haunting contralto and Richard's arranging genius created a sound that defined an era. Their transformation from the jazz-oriented Richard Carpenter trio to pop superstars brought them millions of fans and multiple Grammy Awards. While critics sometimes dismissed them as square amid the psychedelic revolution, their artistic integrity never wavered. Songs like Close to You and We've Only Just Begun became timeless classics, though Karen's tragic battle with anorexia would cut short their incredible run, leaving fans to wonder what might have been. The Carpenters' legacy reminds us that behind the most beautiful music often lies profound pain, and their story continues to resonate with new generations of music lovers who discover their impeccable artistry. 10. The Guess Who, Canada's rock pioneers. When we talk about Canadian rock royalty, the Guess Who stands as the undisputed pioneers. Their journey from Winnipeg to international stardom broke down barriers for Canadian musicians and proved that greatness could emerge from the Great White North. Their signature hit, American Woman, became an anthem that transcended borders, showcasing their unique ability to blend social commentary with infectious hooks. The band's sonic palette was remarkably diverse, seamlessly weaving together elements of hard rock, psychedelia, and even jazz influences. Their musical evolution throughout the early 70s demonstrated an artistic fearlessness that few bands of their era could match. However, like many great bands of their time, internal tensions and creative differences eventually took their toll, leading to their dissolution in the mid-1970s. But the Guess Who's legacy extends far beyond their chart success. As noted during their 2001 induction into Canada's Walk of Fame, they fundamentally changed the landscape for Canadian musicians, proving that international success didn't require relocating to London or Los Angeles. Their influence reverberates through generations of Canadian artists, from Rush to the tragically hip. In 2013, their cultural impact was further cemented when Canada Post honored them with their own commemorative stamp. 11. Montrose, the band that almost had it all. Sometimes the brightest flames burn fastest, and Montrose exemplifies this rock and roll truth perfectly. Led by guitar virtuoso Ronnie Montrose and featuring a young, hungry Sammy Hagar on vocals, their 1973 self-titled debut album became the blueprint for American hard rock. Songs like Rock Candy and Bad Motor Scooter showcased a perfect storm of technical prowess and raw energy. The original lineup, completed by bassist Bill Church and drummer Denny Carmassi, possessed a chemistry that seemed destined for greatness. While their time together was brief, their impact was lasting. That debut album would eventually achieve platinum status in 1986, long after the band's 1977 dissolution. 12. Television, CBGB's art punk pioneers. Television emerged from New York's gritty Lower East Side to create something entirely new, a sophisticated strain of punk rock that valued virtuosity as much as attitude. Their masterpiece, Marquee Moon, released in 1977, rewrote the rules of what punk could be, featuring intricate guitar interplay between Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd that drew from avant-garde jazz as much as rock and roll. The band's influence far outweighed their commercial success, particularly in Britain, where their artistic approach to punk helped inspire the post-punk movement. Patti Smith famously described Verlaine's guitar playing as the sound of 1,000 bluebirds screaming, a perfect encapsulation of their unique sonic approach. Despite releasing only 2 albums before their initial breakup in 1978, Television's legacy as art punk pioneers remains secure. Their brief but brilliant career serving as a reminder that sometimes the most influential bands are the ones that burn brightest rather than longest. 13. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Southern Rock's Tragic Tale. Few stories in rock history capture the essence of what might have been quite like Lynyrd Skynyrd's. Rising from Jacksonville, Florida, they didn't just play Southern rock, they defined it. Their signature 3-guitar attack, combined with Ronnie Van Zant's gritty vocals and streetwise lyrics, created a sound that was both powerful and poetic. The band's trajectory seemed unstoppable. Their 1974 sophomore album, Second Helping, produced their most iconic track, Sweet Home Alabama, a direct response to Neil Young's Southern Man. While Young's song criticized the South's history of racism and religious hypocrisy, Skynyrd's retort was more nuanced than many realize. It wasn't just about defending Southern pride, it was about challenging stereotypes and highlighting the complexity of regional identity. But fate had other plans. On October 20th, 1977, just 3 days after releasing their 5th studio album, Street Survivors, a tragic plane crash claimed the lives of several band members, including lead vocalist Ronnie Van Zant. The accident didn't just end lives, it cut short one of rock's most promising trajectories. 14. M. One-hit wonders with lasting impact. Sometimes a single song can capture the zeitgeist of an era while its creators fade into obscurity. Such is the story of M, the innovative project led by Robin Scott. Their 1979 hit Pop Music didn't just top charts worldwide, it helped bridge the gap between disco's decline and the rise of new wave. The project featured an impressive roster of musicians, including future Level 42 members Mark King and Phil Gould. Despite releasing 3 studio albums and scoring several minor UK hits like Moonlight and Muzak and That's the Way the Money Goes, M never replicated their initial success. 15. Sweet Glam Rock's Unsung Heroes. Sweet's journey from bubblegum pop to hard rock pioneers exemplifies the evolution of 70s music itself. Originally performing as the Sweet Shop, this British quartet fought hard to shed their manufactured pop image and emerge as serious rock contenders. Their transformation paid off with hits like Blockbuster in 1973, but internal tensions and creative differences began taking their toll. Despite their struggles with image and management, Sweet's influence on both glam and heavy metal remains undeniable. Their combination of theatrical presentation and hard-hitting sound helped pave the way for countless bands that followed. Behind their glittery facade and leather pants lay serious musicians who helped bridge the gap between pop accessibility and rock credibility. While they may not have achieved the lasting fame of some of their contemporaries, their impact on rock's evolution cannot be understated. 16. Sha Na Na, from Woodstock to TV fame. How does a doo-wop revival band go from performing at Woodstock to becoming TV stars? Sha Na Na's extraordinary journey is a testament to the enduring appeal of rock and roll nostalgia. Decked out in gold lame and leather jackets with perfectly coiffed pompadours, this New York-based group turned their love for 1950s rock into a cultural phenomenon. Taking their name from the nonsense syllables in the silhouette's "Get a Job," Sha Na Na carved out a unique niche in rock history. Their theatrical performances at Woodstock in 1969 proved that amid the psychedelic revolution, there was still room for good old-fashioned rock and roll. This breakthrough led to their scene-stealing appearance in Greece, 1978, where they performed Born to Hand Jive at the high school dance, but it was television that truly cemented their legacy. Their self-titled variety show ran for 4 successful seasons, 1977 to 1981, bringing their distinctive blend of music and comedy to millions of homes. The show proved that doo-wop's appeal transcended generations, making Sha Na Na household names well into the 1980s. 17. Derek and the Dominoes, when supergroups burn too bright. Sometimes the brightest stars burn fastest. Derek and the Dominoes emerged from Eric Clapton's collaboration with Delaney and Bonnie's touring band, seeking refuge from the overwhelming fame of his previous supergroups. The result was Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, 1970, an album that gave us one of rock's most enduring love songs. The band's genesis came through the American Soul review Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, where Clapton found the musical authenticity he craved after the intense spotlight of Blind Faith. However, personal demons, particularly Clapton's battles with heroin addiction, cut short what could have been one of rock's greatest collaborations. 18. The Jam, Britain's reluctant punk heroes. The Jam's story is one of artistic integrity trumping commercial ambition. Emerging from Woking, near London, in 1973, they blended the energy of punk with the sophistication of mod culture and R&B. Under Paul Weller's leadership, they evolved from angry young punks into one of Britain's most articulate social commentators. Their musical journey from the raw energy of In the City, 1977, to the sophisticated soul-influenced sound of their later works showcases a band constantly pushing boundaries. Songs like Down in the Tube Station at Midnight and That's Entertainment capture the essence of British working-class life with poetic precision. Despite their massive success in the UK, where they were legitimate rivals to The Clash and Sex Pistols, the Jam remained relatively unknown internationally. Their decision to split at their commercial peak in 1982 left fans wanting more, but secured their legacy as one of punk's most principled bands. 19. The Modern Lovers, Proto-Punk's Lost Prophets. Some bands' influence extends far beyond their brief existence, and the Modern Lovers epitomize this perfectly. Led by the enigmatic Jonathan Richman, they created a sound that would help birth punk rock while maintaining a uniquely introspective voice. Their minimalist style and brutally honest lyrics set them apart from their contemporaries. The original lineup was a powerhouse of future talent: Richman on vocals, Ernie Brooks on bass, David Robinson, later of the Cars, on drums, and Jerry Harrison, future Talking Heads member, on keyboards. Drawing heavily from the Velvet Underground and the Stooges, they crafted a proto-punk sound that would influence generations of alternative and indie rock bands. Their self-titled debut album, though released after the band's dissolution, became an instant cult classic. Songs about dating awkwardness, Massachusetts life, and American culture painted a different picture from the typical rock narratives of the time. Between 1976 and 1988, Richman continued using the Modern Lovers name, though these later incarnations embraced a gentler, more folk-influenced sound that showcased his evolving artistic vision. 20. Sex Pistols, Punk's Burning Supernova. What happens when a cultural revolution ignites and implodes within the span of 2 years? The Sex Pistols' meteoric rise and catastrophic fall remains one of rock's most fascinating stories. Assembled in 1975 by Malcolm McLaren to promote his London clothing store, they transformed from a marketing gimmick into punk rock's defining force. The original lineup, Johnny Rotten's snarling vocals, Steve Jones's razor-sharp guitar, Paul Cook's precise drumming, and Glenn Matlock's melodic bass, later replaced by the infamous Sid Vicious, created a perfect storm of musical and social rebellion. Their debut single, Anarchy in the UK, wasn't just a song, it was a manifesto that captured Britain's mid-70s malaise. The band's trajectory was as explosive as their music. After a notorious television appearance featuring profanity in December 1976, they became national pariahs. Record labels EMI and A&M signed and dropped them in rapid succession. Their only studio album, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols, emerged as punk's defining document. Their final U.S. tour in 1978 ended in chaos at San Francisco's Winterland Ballroom. The tragic death of Sid Vicious in 1979, while facing murder charges in New York, provided a dark coda to punk's most infamous story. McLaren's subsequent film, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, attempted to mythologize the band's legacy, but their real impact needed no embellishment. They had already changed music forever. These forgotten legends may have missed their moment in the spotlight, but their influence echoes through the decades. From proto-punk pioneers to glam rock heroes, their music continues to inspire new generations of artists. Rock On legends. The tragic end of Sid Vicious and his girlfriend Nancy Spungen in 1978 marked a dark chapter in punk history. But the Sex Pistols story wasn't quite over. McLaren's legal battles with Johnny Rotten led to a complex court case in 1986, ultimately resulting in the band regaining control of their affairs. This legal victory allowed them to preserve and protect their legacy, ensuring that future generations would understand punk's most explosive moment exactly as it happened, not as McLaren's mythology portrayed it. The Sex Pistols' influence extends far beyond their brief existence. They didn't just change music, they changed British society's understanding of youth culture, fashion, and artistic expression. Their DIY ethos inspired countless bands to pick up instruments regardless of technical ability, while their anti-establishment stance became a blueprint for cultural rebellion. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic ride through rock's most overlooked treasures. Until next time, keep the music alive.